Hello and welcome back. Let's see how WordPress stores transients when we do set transient. If object cache is installed on your server and there is a plugin installed to interact with that object cache, then WordPress stores the transient data into the object cache and not into the database. This happens because the object cache is enabled and there is a plugin to interact with it. In further videos, we will learn about object cache as well. But this is the way. If the object cache is enabled, then transient data won't be stored in the database. Instead, it will be stored in the object cache. Currently, it's not installed on my local setup, so WordPress will create two options, a transient timeout and transient option. So when we do set transient, it will save two options in the options table, one with the transient name and contains our data, and another option saves a timeout with the timestamp indicating when the transient will expire. This is based on the expiry time that we provide in the setTransient function. It will check if the get option exists or not. If it doesn't, then it will simply add the option. Otherwise, it will update the option. After that, if the result is there, then these actions can be used if we need to perform something, and then it will return the data. Similarly, in the getTransient function, it will first provide a pre-transient filter. Using this filter, you can return whatever transient data you want, like filtering the data before going to the database. However, I don't currently have any use cases where we can utilize this pre-transient filter. If the filter isn't used, it will check whether the object cache is installed and if WordPress is using it. If so, it will retrieve the transient data from the object cache instead of the database. If not, it will fetch it from the database using get option with the value passed as transient name. Let me show you a quick demo. After setting the transient, I have added a small piece of code to echo whether the transient data has been saved or it has been fetched. In this code, I have added an echo statement for the transient data saved and to echo fetched from transient data for easier debugging. I am using template redirect. I'll uncomment this, go into the front end and reload it. First, it will say transient data saved. Initially, it says transient data saved because the transient data doesn't exist yet. So it gets saved. After saving, it will return an array of movie IDs. And now, if I refresh this page, it will say that it has fetched from the transient data because first time when the function was called, it set the transient. And the second time, it fetched the data from the transient storage. Now, let's look at how this data looks in the database. I'll go into the options table, search for the option by option name. I'll do a like query. I'll pass the option name that we have set here. You can see there is another option with the same transient name but including the transient timeout key. This option holds the timestamp for the values when the data will expire. And here is the transient that we have stored along with the data we have passed to it. So this is how WordPress stores transient data in the options table. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Jai WordPress.